All mocap is done, 2/3 of the film is animated, and yes, we are still on track for that October release. What's going on, TubeYube? Welcome back to the Plot Coalition YouTube channel in a new space. Finally getting it set up the way it's supposed to be done. So that's cool, that's exciting. Like I just mentioned, I recently wrapped up recording all of the mocap for Liberty Helldivers Film, which was a lot of work, a lot of sweat equity, but it was made a lot easier in a space that's like bigger than a shoebox. So that is a major milestone, and that means we are at a point where we just can focus on animation. Anytime that we want to work on a shot, there's already the assets there to work on the animation for it. But one thing I haven't really talked about is like the process of how I take the idea, the concept to like an animation. So I figured that'd be like a neat topic to talk about today and provide a little bit of an update, some other cool stuff that we're going to chat about. So jumping right in, every animation starts with an idea of what that actually is. So whether or not it needs mocap, everything needs to be figured out from the get-go. So when we're writing the script and stuff, it's just like every idea we can throw out there, and then we try to figure out like, can it actually be animated? But like in the script writing phase, everything's on the table. So after you've done a few drafts of your script, you go ahead and you get it recorded with your voice actors. They all do an amazing job. And now it's about animating to that, on top of building environments and stuff, but we're not going to get into that today. Now, our approach to this film as compared to our other projects was that this one is fully broken down. So we have a spreadsheet that has everything detailed out, every single shot. There's a prevised edit with storyboards or just placeholders or whatever, just to get it as close to the runtime as the film as possible, with every single moment of the film figured out and accounted for. And I know that might sound like very rigid, like, oh, well, now I'm just like subscribed to what these little boxes in a spreadsheet tell me. Which for some people, maybe it could be. I've been editing videos for close to 15 years, so in my mind, I can really see it and know what beat for beat action is going to be like. And it's about taking those ideas, kind of almost jotting them down in the spreadsheet so that I have a list of what needs to be accomplished to make that edit work, which I feel like is kind of unique to my situation, but that's just the way that my brain works. So now I have a script, I have a previs edit, I have the voice actors recorded and edited in there, as well as a spreadsheet that breaks down everything that I need. And now it comes down to what is required to make that animation come to life. Because there are parts of this that don't require motion capture, and some of that you can just go in and quickly hand animate. Sometimes it takes a long time to hand animate. But with this project, with as big as it is and as many moments that are in it, I definitely need to recruit more help. So I went ahead and put out a call to action. Just anybody who wanted to join could. And I've met some fantastically talented animators through that. So I've been able to take from my spreadsheet and assign out specific shots so that they can work on their own shots, and then I can focus on the vast majority of the other ones. But we're talking about my process. How do I get this to a final animation? So once there's been an assessment on whether or not the animation requires motion capture, then I hop into my Rococo suit and I go ahead and record the motion capture for it. Now, in an ideal world, I could just do this for each individual animation, but because there's so much animation, it's typically easier to do all of the mocap at once. But when I'm recording mocap, I'm trying to keep a couple of specific things in mind. Things like, who is this character? What are they doing? What might they be feeling in this? You're really, when you're using a motion capture suit, you're just acting, putting yourself out there as this character, and you need to make it believable that they exist. So in this case, someone like the cadet, is going to be a little bit more loose, a little bit more frantic, whereas a character like the veteran, he's always going to be a lot more stoic, a lot more rigid. He's got a lot more armor, so he's not moving as loosely. He's a bit more, not quite this Roblox rigid, whatever that was I was just doing. That was weird. But what's nice about doing it this way compared to how we used to do it, because before we would do the mocap for every single character for a whole scene and break it up where we could, but generally that was how we're doing it. All of New Frontiers, it was like if there was a scene, that was just a straight motion capture file. Whereas with this, completely different approach, where because we know what everything needs to be, it's just about recording that specific action or animation, which means I can repeat it a bunch of times until I feel like I've got it pretty good, and then that gives me a bunch of takes to choose from for just that specific animation. Now, what's great about recording with Rococo and working in Unreal Engine is that you can actually export your motion capture to the default mannequin in Unreal. So this means exactly what you recorded is going to be exactly what you import, which is phenomenal for our workflow. But from there, we use Unreal Engine's built-in retargeter to retarget it to the models, and all of the models are also set up in a bone structure that is the same as the Unreal Engine mannequin. That is quite the tongue twister. And although the retargets aren't always 100% perfect, what is good about that workflow is that we can actually use the control rigs from Unreal Engine, so like just these S-tier control rigs for animation on our characters, which is super cool. So every single one of these characters share the same kind of a rig, which means that there's no confusion when trying to animate one character versus another, which is super helpful. But from there, it's just a lot of cleanup and doing hand animation on top of that. One of the skills that I wanted to work on personally myself was finger animation. So all of the animation of the hands in the film, they aren't motion capture. Those are animated by hand entirely, which takes a long time, but the results are pretty good because we do a lot of fine and weird things with our fingers, like, I don't even know, like this. And though motion capture can pick it up, it can't quite get the nuance that you want without completely deconstructing it and having to work backwards with it. So I've personally been finding that animating the hands without motion capture has actually made the animations a lot better. It just takes a little bit more time, but then I'm also not undoing work to redo it. So I guess it's probably about the same amount of time, if I had to guess. All of this has made the overall process and the quality of the animation, just everything we're putting out for this film, so much better than it has been in the past. There's been a significant jump from when I did the very first animation on this channel with the Arcane-inspired animation to New Frontiers, and then New Frontiers to Room 24. There was a significant jump, especially in facial animation and just overall motion capture performance. And then from Room 24 to For Liberty is just another astronomical jump in the quality, which is super cool. And it's definitely to the mantra of what we want to be doing here. And I'm sure whatever we do after Helldivers will be probably better. We're gonna try anyway. That's the goal. All right, other things going on. Unreal Engine 5.6 just dropped. It's pretty cool. There are a lot of cool features. I tried animating one scene in it, and Unreal Engine 5.6 is full of bugs. So there's one scene that is at the mercy of the next update for Unreal Engine. Whenever they update to 5.6.1, I'll probably be able to recover that, not a problem. If I had to rebuild it, it wouldn't be the end of the world. I tried to not invest too much time into it because I kind of anticipated that coming. But it is pretty neat, and I would definitely recommend checking it out, especially because it just brings more tools to everybody. So the MetaHuman animator that I use, that I bought an iPhone just to use MetaHuman animator. That's like why I bought it, and to do like virtual cameras in Unreal Engine. I bought just an old iPhone 12 for that. Guess what? You can do it with any webcam now. They have made it so much more accessible, which is super cool. So like, if you want to get into this, there hasn't ever been a better time. You know, I just think back to when I did New Frontiers, there are a whole bunch of hoops that I had to jump through to get those results. I had to use a completely different software in order to get the facial animation from somebody's cell phone to that, and the quality was lackluster. I mean, anybody who's watched the series knows the facial animation at times is not that great. But like, if I was working on that show now, I would be able to literally just use that cell phone footage and it would be a perfect replication of their performance, which is insane because that series only came out a year ago. This technology didn't exist a year ago, and and it exists now. Insane. So definitely get in. Everybody who's asking for a New Frontiers remaster, probably not going to happen, but I might do it with one scene just to prove a point. We'll see. Now, because of the way the YouTube algorithm is and the kinds of videos that I should be making for the channel, it doesn't leave a lot of room for super in-depth tutorials or anything, but if you want to consider becoming a member for our King Dino members, there are full walkthrough, hold your hand style tutorials that are just real time, me walking you through it and explaining everything so that you can create your own Helldivers animations if that's something you are interested in. We also have perks for every level of membership, including being able to see scenes early, which we are dropping in the Discord in the private chats for YouTube members exclusively. So if you want to check that out, feel free to join. We'll be releasing more of those soon because, as I said, we've been able to start rendering them and they look fantastic. But if you do want to follow more of the progress, you can definitely watch the live streams we do every Thursday. It's been a lot of animation because that's primarily what we've been working on. And then as we finish each stage of production, we'll be live streaming the next stage of production as part of that process. So if you want to join, hang out, and kind of see how it all gets made, that's what we do on Thursdays. And sometimes we play games, Because managed democracy isn't going to spread itself. Also, if you're into Helldivers content, definitely check out Sam Filmmaker. He is creating a Helldivers series of his own, and he's got a bunch of cool stuff going on over there. So definitely go and support his channel, help him out. The other creator I wanted to highlight real quick is Modin31. Now, if you are a long-term fan of the channel, you might know that some of the initial success of Plot Coalition was because Modin31 made a review of the original Titanfall New Frontiers concept trailer. Ever since then, me and him have been internet buds. We've gamed together, we've streamed together, done all sorts of stuff. And unfortunately, in April, he suffered an injury that left him paralyzed from the neck down. And he is getting back into making YouTube content, and he is documenting his gaming journey as a quadriplegic, learning how to play games without his hands. So it'd mean a whole lot if you went and supported his YouTube channel. I'll link it down below, but definitely go check him out. It's really cool to just see him pushing through it. All right, well, that's the end of this video. Man, did it go on longer than I anticipated, but that's all right. I got a lot more animating to do. There's still plenty to do for the Helldivers film, but we're making really good progress. We've gotten a good chunk of it completely animated, which is so cool. So cool. Bringing this project to life has just been so wildly different than the previous ones. Obviously, there were huge collaborative efforts in making the previous films happen, but there's just something about this one. Everybody jumping on board for the love of the game. It's just been really cool. Been really cool to see, and cannot wait to release it to the world. So that's pretty much it. I don't know what else to talk about. I haven't gotten a new fish yet. Makes me kind of sad. We'll have to get a new fish. But yeah. If you're still watching this video, I don't know what you're doing. I have other videos you can go watch. You can go watch Sam Filmmaker's videos. You can go watch Modin's videos. You can go watch literally any other video because this one's over. Okay? Okay. 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 Man, I'm tired.